The regular governing board meeting of the Jefferson Elementary School District, December 18th, 2024, 7 o'clock p.m. And Ms. Coveray, can you please do the roll call?
Andrea Jordan is not present. Aaron Rashba,
Here.
Anthony Sujisaka,
Here.
Nadia Flamenco,
Here.
Shaquille Ali.
Here. All right, I'm going to ask, actually, Superintendent McCulick to lead us in the pledge.
Please stand. Right hand over your heart. Pledge. I pledge allegiance.
Thank you. And just to note that Trustee Jordan is here at 7:01. And now we will ask Ms. Superintendent McCulick to install the oath. And
Yes. So I just want to inform the public that we did receive a certificate from the Mark Church's office, Chief Elections Officer, that certified the election results, so we're official. So we're going to, I'll start with Ms. Flamenco to come up to the front here and we'll do the oath. If you could bring your microphone. All right, turn it on. Yeah. All right, so if you could raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Nadia Flamenco, do solemnly swear
I, Nadia Flamenco, do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
and I'll bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of
and the
California,
Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose or evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties upon which I am about to enter.
the duties of which I'm about to enter.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
If you could bring your microphone with you. Hold it in your left hand so you can raise your right hand. I, Andrea Jordan, do solemnly swear
I, Andrea Jordan, do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties upon which I'm about to enter.
the duties upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I have certificates for both of you. This first one on top is yours, and this one is for you as well from the State of California, or County of San Mateo, sorry. Sure. Congratulations.
all right, thank you, Superintendent McCulick. And now, Trustee Flamenco, you will be allowed to speak.
Well, good night. Thank you. Gracias a todos por esta noche. I want to thank all the voters and all the people that supported me to be here this night. I want to support as well. I want to thank also as well the San Mateo GOP who endorsed me to run for election, and also I hope I do as much as I know and can to have a equal balance in what we're trying to do here. Thank you all for being here, and I hope I'm somebody that you guys can come to and give you with Sandy any idea, okay, or helping you to do better. Thank you.
And Trustee Jordan.
I just want to thank the community for trusting in my leadership for another term. I am excited to continue to do the work that we've been doing and to ensure that we are focusing on our students, our staff, and our community as a whole. I ran as an individual, but I am on a board of 5, and so I am here not just for myself, but for the community and in work with my fellow trustees. So again, excited to continue the work that I have been doing and looking forward to the next school year. Thank you.
Okay, now we will acknowledge some dignitaries that are here this evening. First, we have Melinda Dart, retired teacher and president, AFT 3267. We also have Adam Hawkins, current president of AFT 3267. Dennis Shreve, personnel commissioner. Annette Shreve, member of Jefferson Elementary Citizens Oversight Committee. Clayton Koo, former board member of Jefferson Elementary School District. Rosie, I didn't know about this, Rosie U. Tejada, trustee, Jefferson Union High School District. Thomas Piccolotti, city manager, City of Daly City. Victoria Magbilong, executive director, Daly City Public Library Associates. Wallace Moore, personnel commissioner. Bernie Vidales, retired superintendent. And Paul Hagan, retired AFT 3267 president. All right, thank you. Did anyone come in while I was reading? Okay. All right, then. Now we will have board members give comments. So before that, we'll allow the public to speak. And Superintendent McCooley, can you please put up the 2-minute timer? All right. So we'll call out the first speaker. Speakers are customarily limited to 2 minutes. We welcome your input and remarks. Please address only items within the board's jurisdiction. The first speaker is Anushka Takla, 4th grade teacher.
Sorry, I just want to check the item. Is that for this item or is that for a different item?
Oh,
Is that for this item?
Oh, you're correct. No, this is not.
So let me take a look. Hold on one second.
All right, so we'll allow the board members to speak, and we'll start with trustee Rashba.
Okay, well, I don't often wear a tie to these meetings, but this is a special occasion, and I would like to congratulate trustee Jordan on re-election, trustee Flamenco on her election. I look forward to serving with all of you in these next 4 years to make our district the best that it can be. I want to wish everybody in the district a very happy holiday season, whatever you're celebrating, and happy New Year and winter break. And I want to look back at the holiday that has happened since this last meeting of Thanksgiving and just express great thanks to all of the hardworking teachers, administrators, family members, custodians, and staff at all of our schools. And I want to give thanks for just our district and to have such wonderful schools serving our community. It's a pleasure to work with you all to continuously improve those schools and educational quality for our students. Thank you.
He took all the best comments. So anyway, well, first of all, I'd love to congratulate our one newly elected and one re-elected trustees. Again, to echo those same statements, that's what I love about this board. That's what I know we all love about this board, is that we have people who really care about our communities, who represent all of our voices. And I am looking really forward to working with you all, with each of our 20%, to make this district the great place that it is, and even better than what it currently is, too. Thank you.
And I just want to say, give gratitude to Trustee Jordan for the years that you've been on here and to continue to serve with us. And I get to serve with you now too, which is great. And then I'm looking forward to working with you. We got a chance to get to know you a little better down in Anaheim at the conference. So I'm looking forward to some of the fresh energy and ideas you can bring to the board. Thank you. All right, do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? None opposed, unanimously approved. Item 6A, election of officers and representatives. The board each year is required under Education Codes 35022 and 35143 to elect a president and clerk. Board bylaw 9100 also specifies that a vice president shall be elected. The board shall also elect a representative and alternate for the County Committee on School District Organization. Education Code 35023. So now we will open up for nominations. Do we have a nomination for president?
I'd like to nominate trustee Sujisaka as president.
I will second that nomination.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other nominations? If not, can we have a roll call?
Ms. Jordan,
Aye.
Mr. Rashba,
Aye.
Mr. Sujisaka,
Aye.
Ms. Flamenco,
Aye.
Mr. Ali.
Aye. Unanimously approved. Congratulations.
If we could finish this agenda item and then hand it over, give him a little moment to get ready.
Okay. Do we have any nominations for vice president?
I would like to nominate trustee Jordan for vice president.
We have
I
a
second.
motion and a second. All those in, roll call.
Ms. Jordan,
Aye.
Mr. Rush.
Aye.
Mr. Rushba. Mr. Sujisaka.
Aye.
Ms. Flamenco.
Aye.
Mr. Ali.
Aye. Unanimously approved. Congratulations. Any nominations for clerk?
I'd like to nominate Shaquille Ali for clerk.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Can we get a roll call?
Ms. Jordan.
Aye.
Mr. Rushba.
Aye.
Mr. Sujisaka.
Aye.
Ms. Flamenco.
Aye.
Mr. Ali.
Aye. Unanimously approved. Thank you. No- Nominations for county representative, and this is on districting, correct?
Yeah, this is, it's a once-a-year meeting, and so we need someone to represent, and since we don't know the date, to have an alternate just in case the person selected cannot make it.
Do you have a nomination?
I would like to nominate myself for this position.
Second. Can we get a roll call?
Ms. Jordan.
Aye.
Mr. Rushba.
Aye.
Mr. Sujisaka.
Aye.
Ms. Flamenco.
Aye.
Mr. Ali.
Aye. Unanimously approved. Congratulations. Nominations for the alternate representative to the county.
I want to nominate myself.
Second.
All right. We have a first and a second. Can we get a roll call?
Ms. Jordan.
Aye.
Mr. Rushba.
Aye.
Mr. Sujisaka.
Aye.
Ms. Flamenco.
Aye.
Mr. Ali.
Aye. Unanimously approved. Congratulations. I'd like to add in, so we have this parliamentary motions guide, and I've spoken to Superintendent Mukulik about if we're going to have this here, that I would like us to think about having a parliamentarian, someone who can keep track of if we're following these guide correctly. So I'd like to propose or make a motion that we also add a parliamentarian or sergeant at arms.
Do we have to put that on another meeting agenda?
That's a great question. We could, I would have to look into that. So why don't we put that as a motion, if there's a second to put it at another meeting?
Yeah, I'll second that. Oh.
Okay. All those in favor? Oh, no, so I guess this would be a roll call as well. So can we get a roll call?
Ms. Jordan.
Aye.
Mr. Rushba.
Aye.
Mr. Sujisaka.
Aye.
Ms. Flamenco.
Aye.
Mr. Ali.
Aye, unanimously approved. Okay, thank you.
Now you may hand over the gavel. And before you fully walk away from your presidential duties, I just want to thank you for your service and your commitment to our district. We appreciate you. You've always been steadfast about our guidelines, keeping the best interests of our students at the forefront, always. I appreciate your thoughtful facilitation of the board meetings, and just very grateful for all the work you've done, so we have a token of our appreciation.
Thank you.
Okay, let's continue on. All right, we are now on item number 7, board member acknowledgements and commendations, and I will start on my left.
Well, for me, it has been an interesting journey. Thank you, all the board, for being so welcoming and open arms and able to let me know how it works. As well, all the crew with the school district, and hopefully it's going to be a good adventure for all of us. I want to thank, that we're all here today, and we had a warning of the hurricane, but we're all safe. And I want to just send blessings for all of you in this end of the year.
Thank you. I would just want to commend everyone for coming out this evening, and all the board members and Superintendent McCulick for making it down to the conference at the CSBA Annual Education Conference. And just wish good energy and I guess I could say luck to the students on their finals or whatever assignments they need to finish. Thank you.
I have nothing further to add, and we'll be saying more about the annual conference at the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Just want to say it's amazing to have a full crowd. It's always great to have people in those seats, and thank you to everyone that's also listening in virtually. I want to also commend our superintendent. This past year has been really amazing with communication. I know we got the newsletter sent out today, and I read it, and I want to thank you for acknowledging our previous board trustee, former trustee Leah Iga Anuai, for her service on the board. The newsletter also talked about residency for teachers, which I thought was really amazing. It really shows our commitment to attracting and retaining good talent here in our district, and again, keeping our students at the forefront. If we have them come in and then they stay on, it builds community, it builds what I would call assurance of, like, this is someone that they can rely on long term and not just someone that's coming into our community as a substitute short term. So really appreciate you sending that out in the newsletter. And I'm really excited for what the future is going to hold for our newly appointed board. Thank you.
All right, I echo my fellow board members, trustees' sentiments. And now we have 7B, superintendent comments.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Trustee Jordan. You helped me with some of my comments, so I appreciate that. I won't restate. I just want to congratulate our new board member and our returning board member. I'm really excited about working with all of you together. I think we'll do great things. We're having some really positive momentum in our district, all thanks to our teachers, our classified staff, our administrators. You're going to see some, positivity in our student performance in the coming months. So we're really excited to share that. I also want to thank families for making sure their children are in school every day. I know with the holidays, it's tempting to take a couple extra days off. So we appreciate that they have showing their commitment to keeping their students in school so they can, improve student learning outcomes. And just remind everyone we're back on January 6th. So enjoy those 2 weeks. Happy holidays to everyone.
All right, thank you, Superintendent McCulick. Now we are on item 7C, persons wishing to address the board. This part of the agenda is available for all individuals to comment on or address the board on any issue that is under the board's jurisdiction and not in the agenda. The maximum time allowed for any speaker is usually 2 minutes. Could someone please display the timer? Thank you. Our first speaker we have is Anusha Takla, 4th grade teacher from and AFT.
Good evening, everyone. I am Anushka Takla, and I'd like to first of all express my sincere gratitude to Trustee Liaiga Anuai for her dedication and service to the students, families, and staff of Jefferson Elementary School District. We will miss Ms. Liaiga Anuai's intentional and thoughtful questioning style and commitment to service centering students and families in our community. We applaud the reinstallment of Trustee Jordan, our ally. We know that we are stronger together. For those watching from home, JESD has a well-established labor management partnership. Since 2018, district leaders and union leaders have trained jointly with the California Labor Management Initiative. Why? Based on education research in districts where there is a commitment to open communication, trust, and collaboration, all stakeholders, especially students, benefit. From our well-established practice, JESD labor and management teams have cultivated a culture of open communication, built trust, and established collaborative committees to address concerns and maximize our efficacy for the benefit of students, families, and staff. For example, together we passed our second parcel tax, which will augment our budget with ongoing revenue. We built workforce housing so that JESD educators can afford to live where they work. And we have a shared vision to establish community schools at many sites to better serve the needs of students and families. As summarized by, and I'm going to just quickly finish, California Labor Management, students, and this is a quote, students and employees are more likely to succeed, when labor management relations are healthy, inclusive, and diverse. So
thank
as we
you.
welcome Ms. Flamenco to JESD, I trust we will move forward together. I expect we will continue to work as a team to secure our shared vision of great public schools for the students and families of JESD. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, before our next speaker, just a couple of reminders. The board cannot comment on anything that is said by the public. Just in case you're wanting acknowledgement, we can't comment. Okay, so our second speaker is Adam Hawkins. Current AFT president.
Thank you. So Adam Hawkins, President AFT 3267. I would just like to welcome Nadia Flamenco to the board. I look forward to working collaboratively with a shared vision, keeping student-centered visions, and keeping this a safe place for all. Thank you.
All right, and our next speaker, Kevin Owens, teacher.
Good evening. My name is Kevin Owens. I'm a teacher at TRP, and like the others, I'm very excited for the school board, both the returning members and new members being here, and we look forward to making our schools as great as possible and working with you all collaboratively and positively, as we have for the past 7 years I've been in this district, and I'm sure much, much longer. As I said, I've worked here for 7 years, and I'm really passionate about our community and do everything I can to make it as great as possible, as I know everyone in this room does as well. I'm very happy the voters of Daly City have passed Measure C, the parcel tax, last spring, showing a commitment by the people of Daly City towards education and support for teachers. I particularly want to point out that this parcel tax explicitly states that this money can be used to attract and retain high-quality teachers. As we all know, the cost of living in the Bay Area is very expensive, and we lose teachers every year for this reason, moving out of the area or out of the state. This year has the highest turnover I've seen in my 7 years at my current school. Part of this is undoubtedly due to high salaries and not being enough to keep up with the cost of living. Numerous studies show that veteran teachers are more effective for students than newer teachers, and losing these veteran teachers have been huge losses to the culture of our schools as well as the academic communities that we have at our schools. I'm urging you all on the school board to affirm the democratic will of the people of Daly City by making sure that JESD makes every effort to retain and attract teachers through putting money towards teacher salaries and making sure our raises can keep up with the high cost of living. Our students deserve high-quality teachers, and in my opinion, this is the best way to ensure high-quality education for all of our students. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any more speaker cards? All right, thank you. All right, we will now move on to 8, general functions. A, consent agenda. The administration recommends approval of the starred items on the rest of the agenda.
I'd like to take one item off. Item J.
Which number?
Sorry about that. Got you.
It's okay.
12.
12J, item 12J is being requested to be removed. Are there any others? All right, with that,
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Sorry, this is a roll call vote. There is a
That's right.
resolution.
Thank you. Ms. Kovare, could I get a roll call vote, please?
Ms. Jordan?
Aye.
Mr. Rashba?
Aye.
Mr. Ali?
Aye.
Ms. Flamenco?
Aye.
Mr. Sujisaka?
Aye. The vote is unanimous. And that brings us to item 8E, Governing Board meeting dates and governance calendar for 2025. The board will approve the proposed board meeting dates and governance calendar for 2025.
I'll move to approve the dates and calendar for 2025.
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion's unanimous. All right. Item 8F, reorganization of district board subcommittees. The board will consider the composition of existing subcommittees and appoint 1 to 2 board members as representatives on each subcommittee. All right, and we will start off in order with our Wellness Committee. We need 1 board member to serve on the Wellness Committee. So we have a nomination.
I would like to nominate myself, if possible.
Okay, we have a nomination. Anyone else like to nominate themselves?
I second.
Oh, second. Okay, we have a motion and a second. This is a roll call vote.
No, we can actually, for this, we
Oh.
can determine who, and then I can recap, and then we can vote all at the same time.
Okay, so we will put Andrea down for wellness. All right, next we have the City of Daly City, towns of Broadmoor and Colma, and other local partnerships. We need 2 board members to serve on that committee.
I have an interest in the this and the following committee.
All right. so
I'm
then-
interested in that committee as well, the City of Daly City. Same with Trustee Rashba, the next 2.
Okay, if there are no objections, we'll move on to the next one. We need 2 board members for the board policies, which is 2 of us.
I will go with the housing board.
Housing board?
Yeah.
All right, I will put myself down for board policies, but we still need 1 more to serve on the board policies committee.
I'll do it.
Thank you, Trustee Jordan. All right. could
Okay,
you
so
review?
I will recap. I have Trustee Jordan for Wellness. For the City of Daly Cities, I have Trustee Rashba and Trustee Ali. And same for the High School District and Local Elementary Districts, Trustee Rashba and Trustee Ali. For the Board Policies, I have President Sujisaka and Trustee Jordan, or Vice President Jordan. I have for the JESD Housing Board, Trustee Flamenco. Correct. So then we just need a motion and a second.
All right, yeah.
I move that we approve all of the positions mentioned just now by the superintendent.
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. All right, item 8G, Superintendent Advisory Committee. The superintendent requests that board members indicate willingness and interest to serve as advisors from time to time to superintendent on issues relating to the areas below. Those advisory committees serve as advisory alone, and any matter requiring board action or direction will be brought to the full board. All right, so we need 2 to serve on each committee. So the first committee is Budget and Facilities, and the second is Educational Services.
I am happy to serve on the Budget and Facilities Committee.
I'm happy to serve on the Educational Services Committee.
I'm happy to serve in the education services as well.
Okay, well, I'll take Budget and Facilities.
All right, Ms. McCulloch.
So I'll recap for Budget and Facilities. I have Trustee Rashba and Trustee Ali. For Educational Services, I have Vice President Jordan and Trustee Flamenco.
All right, I still need a motion for this to pass.
Motion to approve as stated.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes unanimously. All right, item 8H, resolution number 241218B. Resolution setting forth the Jefferson Elementary School District's principles in support of a safe and welcoming learning environment for students, staff, faculty, or families, and community members without regard to ethnicity, national origin, race, religion, sexual orientation, ability, gender, socioeconomic, or immigration status. The administration recommends the adoption of Resolution 241218B, resolution setting forth the Jefferson Elementary School District's principles in a safe and in a support of a safe and welcoming environment for our students, families, staff, and community members without regard to ethnicity, national origin, race, religion, sexual orientation, ability, gender, socioeconomic, or immigration status.
I motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Sorry, this is a resolution, so
sorry.
it requires roll call.
Yes, thank you. Ms. Covert, please.
Ms. Jordan,
Aye.
Mr. Rashba,
Aye.
Mr. Ali,
Aye.
Ms. Flamenco,
I abstain.
Mr. Sujisaka.
Aye. The motion passes 4-0.
Excuse me, I think it's 4-1.
Is it 4-1? Or, yeah, I didn't know what an abstention meant. So, I mean, I know it means it doesn't, yeah. Anyway. All right, so now we are going to move to our item 9, which is recess. We will take a 20-minute recess. There is refreshments in the hallway.
In honor of our new trustee and our returning trustee in their installation. So come join us. We have some cupcakes, buntinis, as well as some other refreshments. And then what time will we, 20 minutes? So
Yeah, so 20 minutes, so we will return at 9 o'clock.
no, it's 7:38 right now.
Oh, oops, 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock.
Sorry.
Could I get a roll call, please?
Ms. Jordan,
Here.
Mr. Rashba,
Here.
Mr. Ali,
Here.
Ms. Flamenco,
Here.
Mr. Sujisaka.
Here.
President Sujitaka, I wanted to rise to a question of privilege. We had a previous vote where there was an abstention, and we said it was 4-0, but I was wondering, can we revisit that and just limit the vote to if it's an abstention or if it's a no?
Could you clarify that, please?
Well, we have 5 board members, and then we have a 4-0 vote, and I'm not sure if we're able to do that.
Yes, so when there's an abstention, it has to be either a conflict of interest. So if there is no conflict of interest, then they have to choose if it's a yes or a no vote.
Okay, so we are going to revisit that vote, yes? Okay, so then,
The motion and second are still there, so let's maybe do a roll call vote again.
okay, Ms. Covere, could I do a re-vote for item 8H?
Ms. Jordan,
Aye.
Mr. Rashba,
Aye.
Mr. Ali,
Aye.
Ms. Flamenco,
No.
Mr. Sujisaka.
Aye. Motion passes with a 4-1 vote. All right, and now we move on to the item that was pulled, item 12J, Measure J Bond Series Financing Update. I will read the whole thing, and then I'll allow you, Mr. Ali, to ask your question. On November 14th, the district successfully sold the final installment of bonds approved by taxpayers under Measure J. The financing closed on December 5th. At closing, the district received $12.27 million into the building fund to be used on projects approved under Measure J. As a part of the bond insurance process, Moody's Investor Services affirmed the district's strong AA1 bond rating. Moody's highlight of the district's financial management, tax base, and strong local economy as rationale for the rating. The district received 38 bond orders from investors such as North Trust Co., Schwab Asset Management, Franklin Asset Management, and C.W. Henderson. In total, the district received over $18 million in orders for the $12.5 million available for sale, with $1.7 million left unsold. The district's underwriter, Stifel, underwrote the unsold balance on behalf of taxpayers. On October 9th, the district's financial advisor, Kegent, presented the board with estimate costs for the bond insurance. The estimated insurance rate was 4.13%, and the estimated total cost was 20.72%, or sorry, 20.72 million. After the bond sale on November 14th, the interest rate was finalized at 3.9%, and the final cost was 20.14 million.
Okay, thank you. Originally, I didn't have a question. I just wanted to read it, but you did that for me, so thank you. Now, I think this is great news, and it's worth us taking it off and talking about it and commending the voters and the district and all the cabinet for the work on this, and of course the consultants. But now I do have a question, or just a little bit of more of a clarification. So it says, so I was a little confused because it said we received over $18 million in orders, and we had $12.5 million available for sale, but then some was unsold. So I was confused, and then happy to see that Stifel underwrote the unsold balance. Can you explain that a little bit more?
Sorry about that. Yes, we're very fortunate that Stifel underwrote the unsold balance because as the sale was closing, they took it in, they purchased it themselves and kept it in their portfolio, and then they later sold it. So they took a little bit of a risk by purchasing that on our behalf, and then they sold it, so it worked out well, and it worked out very well for us because all of our bonds were sold at closing.
Thank you.
Could I ask, is that common for not all of the bonds to be sold, or is it like reflective of the market or something?
You know, I'm not really sure. I haven't been in that many bond sales, but I can imagine it might be common for the financer to underwrite some of them for the client. you know, if it's not too many. But I'm not really sure as far as if that's a common occurrence.
Okay, thank you. And I didn't have any other questions, and this was just information, right? So.
Correct. Are there any other questions or comments? All right, I echo Trustee Ali's sentiments about thanking our all the people who helped us get this bond and make sure it got sold. Thank you. All right, with that, we will move on to 12K. First interim budget review. Ms. Josie Peterson, Assistant Superintendent of Business Services, will present the 24-25 first interim financial report for the period ending October 31st of 2024. The administration recommends that the Board of Trustees will A, review the first interim financial report, B, approve the filing of the certification of financial condition, and C, approve the revision of the adopted budget to correspond with the projected year totals for review and expenditures.
Good evening. Thank you, trustees. Tonight I am presenting the 2024-25 first interim report. This is the first review of the budget by the board and the public since you adopted the budget in June. So kind of a review, first interim, the cycle of the first interim overview. I'm not going to go in through all of this, but this is what we're going to be talking about tonight. So the first interim is a look at our books as of October 31st. What are the actuals, and then what are the projections going forward for the current year and for 2 fiscal years out? It includes all of the current information because when we adopted the budget, we didn't have all of our staffing in place. We didn't know what our enrollment was, and we do have a better idea now of what our attendance is. So we've adjusted the expenditures and the revenues as of October 31st and projected it out through June. And this is just a review of the budget cycle, shows you where we are now in our budget cycle. And reporting requirements, these are state reporting requirements. The district is self-certifying as positive, which means we will meet our financial obligations for the current fiscal year and 2 fiscal years going out. So what I want to do here is kind of give you an idea of what the changes were from the adopted budget to our first interim report. So our adopted budget was back in June. As of October 31st, these are the numbers we had. And I'm not going to go through all of them, but when it comes to revenues in general, we have more revenues than what we projected in June. And that's really because when we closed the books, there were unspent funds, mostly in the federal categories. I listed all of the categories there. So it's pretty much the increase is due to unspent funds, which are now added back into this year's budget. And then when you look at expenditures, again, we don't have to go through each one, but the main reason is because of carryover balances from those revenues. We now added also the expenditures. There were a couple of increases that we did not know at the time. One of them was our occupational services. The students needed more services. Our insurance premium was higher. We didn't have our insurance exact numbers from our insurer at that time, so that number was a little bit higher, and then the rest of it really was mostly carryover funds. And then transfers between funds. The only change here is we were budgeting to transfer $1 million from Fund 20, the Retiree Benefit Fund, in the 3rd year. And we made a change where we're actually transferring what is the actual expense for our retirees each year. This year it's about $380,000. So we changed the budget to transfer the actuals for each year and included that also in the multi-year. So we're matching the actual transfer from when the expenses are incurred. And then this is the components of our ending fund balance. It's really hasn't changed too much. It includes the restricted categories and all of the board commitments. We are meeting our 3% reserve for economic uncertainty, and then what's left over is just under $1 million of unassigned funds. Yes.
Is it exactly 3%, or do we have more?
Oh, we have more than 3% because you can add the 2.9 million plus the other million, and then there is, it is more than 3%. So it's sufficiently more than 3%. What I wanted to share here with you is just kind of take a look back at what were our financials before COVID? And so I listed 2018, 19, 19, 20, because that's just before COVID hit. And our budget was pretty balanced. Our revenues and our expenditures, the revenues are in blue, expenditures are in orange, were pretty much stable. And then in 2020-21, we started receiving a little bit more money, and those are COVID funds. We started getting help from the federal and state government to help us deal with COVID needs. So we had increases in revenues. The largest increases were in 22-23, 23-24. And then what we did was we also, a lot of those were one-time funds. So we were able to give a 12% salary increase in 23-24, and 2% of that salary increase was paid for with one-time funds that carries over into the multi-years. And then looking at 24-25, you can see there is a gap in the revenues and expenditures. And what's happening in 24-25 is, as you saw those unspent funds in the revenues and expenditures, we had some carryover funds. And so in 24-25, we're using our carryover funds to cover that gap. But then when you look forward in 25-26 and 26-27, there are no more one-time funds to cover the expenditure gaps. So now we're operating at a deficit, a structural deficit that we're going to start addressing now. Any questions there? Let's see if it goes. The other thing I wanted to go over with you is just the other funds. The district has many funds, and I wanted to just highlight a few of them this time. Our Child Nutrition Fund is self-sufficient. It's operating very efficiently. In prior years before COVID, the district used to make a contribution from the general fund to the Child Nutrition Fund, and that's not necessary anymore, as all of the students are receiving both breakfast and lunch, and the state is reimbursing us for all of those costs. Deferred maintenance is another area that I wanted to highlight because this is an area of concern. The state stopped funding deferred maintenance back in 2018 when they started giving us local control over our funds. And so this is one area that we haven't needed as much of because we have this great bond program, and as the bond program completes projects, a lot of those deferred maintenance things are taken care of. But as we wind down our bond projects, we do need to consider, we are going to have deferred maintenance, leaky roofs, asphalting. It is something to consider that we need to start planning for as these things come up. And then Special Reserve Fund, this is the board-designated Special Reserve Fund, and it has an ending balance projected of just over $4 million, and we have been transferring money from the Fund 17 to the general fund, and this is something we do to cover our employee health benefits. It's very important that everybody maintains their health benefits, and so we have been making that transfer every year to offset the costs of health benefits. The other funds, yes, let me go back.
So Fund 13 and 14, it sounds like a lot of money is kind of sitting there because we don't need to spend it. That does not count towards our reserve, right? This is allocated funding.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up, because all of these funds that I'm talking about now are restricted funds.
Right.
And they're all restricted for designated purposes. So these funds are restricted for child nutrition, and the deferred maintenance is restricted for fixing things around the district.
And are we able to earn any interest on these funds?
Yes,
Yeah.
we are earning interest on all of these funds. The one fund I wanted to talk about here was Eastmore Heights. It's a new enterprise fund that we established last year, and now that we have people moved into the facilities, we are collecting rents, we are paying the boulevard their fees for managing the property and also the expenditures that go along with that. We are projecting a balance of just over $800,000 when we close out this school year, and then that balance will increase as we progress forward. We're looking at hopefully building a reserve to be able to make repairs and fix things for Eastmore Heights, and then after that, we will have some additional funding that can be used for general purposes. So next steps, we do want to look at employee compensation. We do want to be able to give a salary increase to our employees. We have not bargained a salary increase for this school year. We have been able to pay for health insurance and also pay for the increased cost of health insurance for this school year. So we are planning our budget right now. We're going to have the governor's January proposal for 2025-26. We're looking at ways of increasing revenues, doing some grant writing. We're looking at budget savings and reductions in the multi-year. The sooner we can make some reductions, the more it counts, because if we make a reduction next year, it counts going forward. And so that's what we're looking at right now, is just planning ahead and working towards closing out negotiations for this school year. I believe that's all I have for tonight. I'm happy to answer any questions, comments, and suggestions from the board.
All right, thank you, Assistant Superintendent Peterson. Are there any questions from the board? I will start on my right.
Thanks, Ms. Peterson, for that presentation and also for answering questions of mine before this meeting. I do have one question. Well, maybe it's a two-part question. Fund 63, is that a restricted fund for the Eastmore Heights Enterprise?
It is restricted as an enterprise fund, but an enterprise fund in the terminology itself is a revenue-generating fund. And so the board does have discretion on the revenues of that fund, and those revenues can be transferred into the general fund for general operations.
Perfect. Thank you for stating that out loud. And I guess, how did we determine that the 832 was what the balance should be?
So we have projected rents, and then we have a projected budget from the Boulevard, and it's really just the net, the monthly net multiplied out by the rest of the year. And we started late. We started probably in July, August, so it's not a full year of projected net revenue.
Thank you. And this is maybe more forward-thinking. I tend to do this, so apologies in advance. So similar to our schools, when a school is new, there's no repairs needed, but as they age, repairs will be needed. So if the calculation is based on that, as our building ages, what is our plan to keep up with the repair needs if it's based on that calculation specifically? Does that make sense?
Which
what I'm
calculation?
asking?
The calculation of the revenues net the expenditures? Is that-
Exactly.
Okay, so the plan is, like, if we end the year with $832,000 this year, let's keep it in the fund as a reserve, earning interest. Let's do that for a year or 2 years or 3 years, and you'll have maybe $2 or $3 million in that fund as a reserve. And then as something breaks or something needs to be repaired, we would be able to use those funds to make those repairs.
Perfect. Thank you.
I have no further questions.
I had a couple comments. First of all, I'm grateful to hear about our positive certification. That's always good news to hear for our district, especially me, because I'm always paying attention to that third out year. And if we're using strategic use of reserves or not, but I like to hear that we're positive. Also, I'm grateful to hear about this $800,000 plus that we have in that enterprise fund. Thank you for your foresight, and what was it, you?
I think that was Michael's foresight.
Okay,
or
well,
Julie's
thank you to
foresight,
Michael if you're,
or the board's foresight.
right, thanks to all of us, right, for thinking about that. And then, and then also thank you for saying that we're, involved in fundraising and revenue generation, and not just talking about cuts, because we do have to be prudent. As board members, we have a fiduciary responsibility, and I know different board members have different thoughts about the money, but my thoughts are it's not my money. We're spending the public's money, so I'm different with that than I am with my personal money. So anyway, thank you for talking about fundraising and revenue generation. And hopefully we will be able to budget our priorities,
Yes.
right? And not not have to cut things that we really believe in just because of finances. Okay, I'll stop. Thank you.
well, thank you, Josie. We meet before, and you clarify all my questions, and yeah, no comments. That's it.
And I have no further questions or comments. Thank you so much, Assistant Superintendent Peterson.
Thank you.
All right, with that, we will move on to,
This is a motion we need to approve.
sorry, yes, thank you. All right, I do need a motion.
Motion to approve the 2024-25 fiscal year first interim budget review.
All right, is there a second?
I second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimous. All right, item 13A, certificated retirements for 24-25. The administration recommends approval of the retirement request from the following and also requests the appropriate resolution be prepared, commending them for their years of service within the district. Jane Hitomi, speech and language pathologist, SPED, effective 1/11/2025. Ms. Hitomi has been employed by the district since August 26 of 2005. And Sandra Lindenberger, school nurse, SPED, effective February 7th of 2025. Ms. Lindenberger has been employed by the district since August 27th, 2001. All right, are there any,
I could just say a couple of words, if that's all right. We've had these folks, the two of them have worked a little over 43 years together. If you put the next one in classified, 60 years. And, these are the folks that work with our district, just like we had here when you got the past president, you've got the past president. And, Sandy, how many eye exams and how many scoliosis checks we did over at TRP, and, it's just going to be hard not having them here. And with Jane, I met with her not too long ago and how excited they are, and I just want to wish them all congratulations and many adventures to come.
if I may follow that, I actually know Sandy Lindenberger, and I'd like to thank her for her years of service as well. She served our schools in the district for very loyally and with haste. She made sure whenever there was something that needed to be done, she was right there. No matter what school she was at, she worked at multiple school sites for most of her time here. So thank you, Sandy.
Yeah, we can never say enough, of how grateful we are to nurses and what they do, especially, when the pandemic came and how the nurses stepped to the table and just, did all those vaccinations and testing. So thank you so much. And also speech and language pathologists, a lot of times kind of get overlooked. I work in specialized academic instruction, so I know the importance of the speech and language pathologists. So thank you, both of you, for your service.
Any other comments? All right, with that, we need a motion.
I move that we approve the certificated retirements as listed.
There's a first, or there's a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Congratulations to Ms. Hitomi and Ms. Lindenberger. All right, item 14A, retirement classified personnel. The administration recommends approval of the retirement request from the following classified employee and requests the appropriate resolution be prepared, commending her for her years of service with the district. Lisa T. Sue, HR specialist, district office, date of hire, March 26, 2007. This will be effective December 30th of 2024.
Thank you. I know, Lisa, if you're out there watching, which you're probably not, she doesn't want us to talk too much about this, but she's my rock in that department. And to have somebody that's been here so long and has that institutional knowledge leaving is tough. And, but she's been working really hard with our new person coming up, Miss Lee, who is moving out from Tobias up to the DO. And it's going to be an interesting change, but I'm really excited for moving into the new year with Kim. And I wish Lisa all the luck in the world in her retirement.
Excellent. Any other comments?
I just, honestly, saying this name on here makes me sad. Can we not say yes to this? Lisa was the person that kind of helped me get onboarded when I first joined the board, and she was so helpful, and when I had questions, she was always ready to help and answer, and I am sad to see her go. She will be missed, but I wish her nothing but the best on her retirement, and thank you so much for all of your years of service.
I can't believe it. Wow. So Lisa, her energy and just positiveness, just a beautiful person, and she kept our money coming in, you know, so I guess I was in denial. I saw this name and I ignored it, and I didn't want to accept it. But congratulations, though, Lisa. You deserve it, and I hope you enjoy whatever you're going to be doing.
Well, I just met her for a few minutes. But yeah, I can see how many people loved her, and she will be missed.
That's how long you've been on the board, Shaquille. All right, with that, I do need a motion.
I will move to approve the retirement quest and thank Ms. Sue for her years of service.
All right, I have a motion, and there is a resolution in there, Mr. Rashma. And so do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion passes. Congratulations, Ms. Sue. All right, and we move on to item 15A. JESD Government Annual Board Governance Workshop Study Sessions. The board will discuss selecting a governance workshop meeting date with consultant Nicole Anderson and the need for other study sessions. So for this, we will be discussing a meeting date. Ms. McCullough.
Yes, so I am passing around, and there's some available to the public if you would like to see from Ms. Covere. This is, just to kind of put it on paper, there are 3 dates that we're looking at that are available. I understand that the board is seeking to have more of a shorter time. So we have the same amount of time. Lunch would be provided to the board members. This is a public meeting on Saturdays. So there are 3 Saturdays. January 25th from 9 to 1 p.m. Saturday, February 1st, the time changes because that is the same day as our STEM fair. So we would start after the STEM fair, so you could kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone, go to the STEM fair, come to this. And then Saturday, February 8th, back to 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Times are flexible. This was just what we thought might be best. And then you can see down below, there are 4 outcomes that we're proposing, and I'll read it out loud for the public. One of the outcomes is the governance team will recenter around research-based effective governance practices, roles, and expectations. Also, review, update the governance handbook. We have new board members, so it's always good to revisit that with key guidelines and norms. And then the third one, engage in board goal setting. This was mentioned at a previous board meeting, that the board wants to align the district vision with your board priorities as individuals as well as the board with the superintendent vision of welcoming, engaging, safe schools, our goals, my goals, and objectives, so the LCAP goals. And then also the last one would be to discuss policy implementation and monitoring through an educational equity and data lens. This is something that is really what is your impact is policy. And so addressing that as well and looking to see how you can have the biggest impact through policy, thinking about equity as your main lens. So that's the proposal. So the first thing would be, check your calendars to let me know what date is maybe you can't do, and then we need to tell her by tomorrow what date so she can remove those from her calendar as well. And then if these outcomes are also agreeable, or if there's something that you're interested in for this governance workshop. So I'll let you discuss and then let me know.
Thank you, Ms. McCullough. Are there any questions or comments, discussion from the board?
Yes, I have maybe a comment and a question. Question is the determination of the 4 hours. I understand the ask to make the meeting shorter. Was there a reason why we determined 4 hours specifically would be enough?
No, the number of hours, it was just a shorter day, and so this is what I'm proposing, but if you want longer, that's really up to the board. She is available the whole day. So it's up to you as a board. That's what I was hearing as the sentiment, so this is what I'm proposing.
So the only, I guess now, comment I have is in prior years, so I do agree that it is a long day and we would like it to be shorter. However, in prior years, I feel like we still don't get accomplished everything, and so I'm concerned that the 4 hours, specifically because of the purpose and outcomes. I'm a spirited one, and I feel like I could spend 2 hours on one of these items. So that would be my only, not saying that we shouldn't, but will we be able to accomplish what we're asking to accomplish?
Can I comment on that?
Go ahead, Trustee Owens.
I remember us talking about keeping the lunchtime like a working lunch in order to make it fit. I think I remember us talking about that, but that's just one comment I would add in there, that it could fit if we work while we're eating lunch. But
May
I know I
add to
don't need
that?
more than 4 hours.
May I add to that? In speaking with Nicole Anderson, she was anticipating a 30-minute kind of working lunch embedded in this, just so that you know that was already thought of.
Also, just another comment was just I like the idea of coupling it with the STEM fair. You know, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that, building camaraderie among the board members and is an important goal of the retreat workshop, and so that could be, I think, partially accomplished by attending the STEM fair.
Sorry. I ask a lot of questions. So I know because we also have a new board member, I think every year we also do like a board evaluation and then we ask questions. Would that be included in this? And because of that, would that elongate the meeting?
That is not included in this, but it
Okay.
can be a special session at another time. It doesn't have to be a Saturday. It could be another day. And that is later in the agenda. We'll talk about special study sessions.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I hear we have, I hear two people saying that, all right, correct me if I'm wrong. I hear two people saying that we would have a 4-hour meeting coupled with the STEM fair sounds like a good idea. And then I also hear one person would like it to be 8 hours.
Definitely did not say that.
2 hours per item.
Not want an 8-hour meeting. I am fine with the 4-hour meeting. I'm just trying to make sure that we make the best decision. And then I guess the additional statement would be, if we do not get through these 4 outcomes, could we then get another meeting on the calendar? I know we don't want more meetings, but my goal is that we don't overextend ourselves and we say, we're gonna focus on these 4 purposes and outcomes, and then we get to the meeting and by the end of the 4 hours, we've done 2. And then do we ever, because I will say that we don't revisit in prior years, we've never revisited when we've said, oh, we need to do updates to goals. We typically just wait till a whole nother year comes around. And I guess I just want to make sure that we're making the right decision. Does that make sense?
Do you want me to speak or do you?
Yeah, go ahead.
So on here it does say, meeting with consultant Nicole Anderson and the need for other study sessions. So I think that is included, that if we do not finish, we can definitely set other dates. I don't think we'd set them now. We would set them in the future.
I have a question, sorry. Would that cost us more money?
Yes.
Okay.
So I just want to say that when we first saw this, I'm thinking about the 4 hours. I didn't think that we needed to do all 4 of these items, but I wasn't going to go into all of that. So I just think that I know number 4, I'm just gonna speak publicly. I don't think we need to spend a lot of time on number 4 because especially if we're talking about policy implementation, we need to get that now to the principals and the teachers. That's what implementation is. We're not implementing, so that doesn't need to take a lot of time in my mind. And I think number 3, I just need a little bit more clarification about like what we're going to be doing with that day. But I understand number 1 and 2.
Would you like me to address number 3?
Just briefly.
Yeah. So it was mentioned at a previous board meeting about having time for the board in a study session to talk about goals, individual board member goals, as well as aligning to the district goals and vision. So having a little time for that. And I also have a vision of welcoming, engaging, safe schools, but our district vision is a little different. So do we want to align those? So that was something else. That could be done at a different time, or it could be a really short amount of time. So if you give me direction for that, I can let Nicole know what the direction of the board is. And then just to clarify, are you proposing that we would eliminate number 4 or just do it for a short amount of time?
Yes, limit the time.
Limit the time, okay. So then it's just up to the board if that's what everyone else wants to do.
All right, if that is what we need, or sorry, do you have another comment or question?
I was just going to say, I personally feel like I have diminishing returns after 4 hours, so I do think that a 4-hour session is appropriate, and perhaps concentrating what we could best accomplish with an outside facilitator in the room. That's a real resource to take advantage of that. But I do think that follow-up meetings are a good idea, and perhaps bringing the consultant back via Zoom, if necessary, would be a way that we could continue that conversation as need be.
Our consultant is local, so that's not necessarily an issue. It's the time, we pay for the amount of time.
And do we have the teachers' information before we meet as well, or the community, the schools' goals? Because maybe we can get information from them, what are their goals, and then we can hear it.
So we have, these are our goals here. The board goals are aligned to our district goals, and all the school goals align to this district goals. So they're all the same. Yeah.
Do they want to change anything, or they are agree with that, or?
Well, that is, we do, this is maybe something that would be a good study session, is on the local control accountability plan is our district plan, and we get input from stakeholders, meaning parents, families, students, as well as all staff and administrators. And so that is, they're already giving input on that.
Also, can I mention, so the principals have all come to present to us what their plans are for the schools, but you missed those presentations.
She actually will see some in January.
Okay, yep.
Excellent. So I still need to hear a motion for a date and the time. These are recommendations, so you can say those, but you can also motion anything else that works for the rest of the board.
A motion for Saturday, February 1st.
I have a motion. Do you have a second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Unanimously approved.
Before we commit to that, did everyone check their calendars? Everyone can make it? Okay, I just want to confirm that. And if you could then also give direction on the proposed purpose and outcomes. I heard there were comments about 3 and 4, and so I'd like to hear a motion, a second on that as well.
Okay, so okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I make a motion that we limit the time on items 3 and 4 and focus more of the time on items 1 and 2.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. All right, item 15B, scheduling board reports. The board will discuss and schedule reports at upcoming board meetings for the remaining members who attended the CSBA Annual Education Conference. So today is trustee Rashba and myself. So we just need our other two board members to sign up for these days. Trustee Ali?
So when's the next one?
It'll be January 15th when you will be presenting.
Okay, that's fine.
And that's all right for you, Ms. Trustee Flamenco? All right, and I do need an action on this one.
Motion for stated board members to present board reports on January 15th.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, trustees Elia and Flamenco. All right, item 16A, July 2024 CSBA Board Policies Update, second reading. The board will review and revise board policies, administrative regulations, board bylaws from July 2024 CSBA board policy updates as stated in a second reading. Any discussion or a motion?
Motion to approve the July 2024 CSBA board policy updates.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
Motion passes with a 4-1 vote. Item 16B, September 2024 CSBA Board Policy Updates, first reading. The board will review and revise board policies, administrative regulations, board bylaws from September 2024 CSBA Board Policy Updates as stated in a first reading. Just like the last one, is there any discussion or action?
I'll move to approve the policy updates in the September 2024 reading.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Before we move on, I just want to make sure, like, because I know that we do these board policy updates often, specific for the public to know, like, so if it's just, like, for the last one that we just approved, I saw that we just crossed out things that didn't pertain to our district. So for example, it said things like CTE and high school, and obviously we're not a high school district. So I just want to make sure that people are not like, what are they? Because again, you would have to read through the whole thing. So I just wanted to make sure that people were aware of what it was that we were quote unquote approving or saying no to. So thank you.
Thank you for that clarification. All right, number 17A, Board Study Session CSBA 2024 Annual Conference. Board members Aaron Rashba and Anthony Suyusaka will highlight some of their learnings as well as give a report about their attendance at the CSBA Conference 2024 Annual Education Conference in Anaheim from December 5th to 7th. All right, I'm supposed to ask Anthony or Aaron if they would like to share first.
Up to you.
You can go first.
Okay. Well, it was a real honor to attend the CSBA annual conference. Incredible experience, as always. There's at these conferences, there's a few big keynote speakers with everyone, and you have school board members from across the state of California coming in, as well as superintendents. So there were upwards of 1,000 people in the room, I would guess, and inspiration in the big keynote sessions. But my favorite are always the smaller breakout sessions at which you can go and hear presenters really get to engage with the topics that they're talking about. They share slides after, and you get to talk with the speakers and the other board members after. And there were three that I thought were really outstanding that I thought I would highlight. The first one was about the mental health and wellness among AANHPI community, Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander, and with such a large AANHPI population in our district, I thought I would attend. It was really valuable, and the presenters first talked about stereotypes among Asian Americans, such as the model minority stereotype, and the stigma that is prevalent among the AANHPI community about asking for help with mental health issues, and then noted some very sad statistics that suicide is the leading or second leading cause of death among AANHPI youth nationwide. And there was a really good presentation as part of this from the executive director of something called PICA, the Orange County Association of Pacific Islander Community Alliance, which is a nonprofit. And they talked about this incredible partnership that they built with the schools in Orange County. They offer counseling in a culturally relevant way to the AANHPI community. It's been extremely valuable, no cost to the district, and they have a focus on recruiting young AANHPI therapists who can really relate to the students, offering parent support and wraparound services. So I think this is a great model. I know that we are already doing similar things in our district, working with some of the great nonprofits in our community, like Daly City Partnership and others. Nonetheless, I thought there were some really good nuggets within the presentation, which I sent over to Superintendent McCulloch and connected with the organizers. Another presentation breakout I attended was on communications by the Beverly Hills Unified School District, and wow, do they have a lot more resources than we do. But they have developed a great system for kind of channeling communications, and they have a 5-level platform at which to raise issues, starting with the child's teacher and then going up to the superintendent and the Board of Education. This is on their website. They have a video about it, and the goal is to resolve issues quickly, to resolve problems at the closest place to the issue. And I just thought they did this in a very thoughtful way. I think Superintendent McCulloch really excels in communications, and I knew she would appreciate this system. So again, shared the slides, but a really good model from our colleagues in Beverly Hills. But the best presentation that I went to was actually done by the Stanislaus County Board of Education. And this was a marketing campaign that they did called Every Day Counts, and it's focused on school attendance. So we talk about school attendance in almost every one of our meetings, and we kind of put the onus on our schools, and our principals do a great job of talking about attendance in assemblies. We always have certificates for our students who have perfect attendance, which is great. We do a lot in our district communications and newsletters about attendance. Well, Stanislaus County, they turned it on its head, and they did it, it was led at the top by the county. And so this presentation was by the superintendent, a board member, and their county communications officer. And they described a campaign in which they put $300,000 investment, which sounds like a lot, but part of it was borne by the County Office of Education, and then costs spread among the 25 districts in the county. And the results were that they boosted overall attendance by 1.55%, and that meant an additional $17 million in revenue for across the county, and they decreased chronic absenteeism by 5%. So on both a revenue side and an educational side, since the most important thing I think we can do is make sure that students are in school learning, this campaign was a huge success. So I actually communicated with some folks in San Mateo County about this campaign. There was another board member from San Mateo in there, and we really encouraged them to take a look at this campaign because it was extremely effective. So, and I would say the best benefit of going to the conference was just meeting and connecting with people from all over the state and spending time and bonding with the folks up here. We missed you. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Rossbaugh, for your report. All right, Mr. Sujisaka, it's time for your report. All right, so we had slightly different experiences, but again, I'm very happy to hear that we did have very similar experiences. And it is a huge networking event. We get to talk to superintendents and school board members from all across the state, experienced and new. And it really is a wonderful experience to have this experience with our new board member joining us, really getting to know other new board members, their areas, their experiences, if they're on. There are not very many boards that are like us, so it's very interesting to hear when we hear similar experiences. But my favorite session, or actually I had two favorite sessions. One of them was the CSBA Board President Workshop that I got to attend. As the Vice President, I wanted to make sure I was prepared if the presidency was passed off to me. But as I always said to all of my students, there's no training like the real experience, no matter what policies they gave us. I mean, I have this huge book in front of me, and I still can't even tell 8 from 9 p.m. yet. So, but they give you a lot of language. They really try to prepare you. They run you through scenarios. You get to talk to everyone at your table, where there were a lot of superintendents who advise board trustees, and then board trustees who are being advised by superintendents. So it was a lot to take in, all in an 8-hour, one whole day session. But that was honestly one of the best sessions I attended. I was very attentive. I thought that they would just be going through just talking, but they kept bringing up, well, if this happens, this is who you can talk to, or here's a scenario. We have 3 scenarios. Each table's going to do one, or each row's going to do one. So they really had us engage in these scenarios with people who are also in our positions and really helping us learn by experience. And so that's, I think, one of the most unique experiences that I had, because there weren't any other sessions that really had us engage with the other people around us. They only have an hour and 10 minutes to do their sessions, but of course this is an 8-hour session, so they really built in that time to make sure that we got what we needed. We were able to ask questions. They even brought in someone from legal, their CSBA legal, to answer questions for us, which that person, I'm sure they're still getting emails to this very day. They had a lot of questions because, free legal counsel. Anyway, but that was one of my favorite sessions. The second favorite session that I attended was actually based on CTE and workforce preparation in schools. I did not know that 8th graders, it actually goes down to 8th grade, that 8th graders can actually participate in CTE and work-based learning, which that really shocked me. One of the things I have a passion for is CTE. I have 2 credentials in it. I really value that. Again, just like this board president's workshop, I value experience in the learning. So having our students in our high schools all throughout California, there are grants for this that people use, and it's amazing to see what those kids can take from even just a single day of an internship or a volunteer experience at those work sites. And so thinking about how these work sites benefits our high school students, I went to one of these sessions that's asking, well, what about our middle school kids? Some of these kids that we work with in our middle schools or have in our middle schools or you all have at home, they want that experience. They love helping out a teacher in the classroom. They love going and helping down out at work for a day, or a parent or guardian. So just now knowing that those are opportunities that we can provide to our students, especially as a K-8 district, because that was my biggest concern, was a really valuable experience for me to have. So thank you for sending me to the CSBA conference. All right, item 18, governance team comments, reports, future agenda items, and board meeting reflection. For any future agenda items, please make sure, as we did earlier in this meeting, please make sure to motion for any future agenda items. And I will start on my right.
I just want to say thank you to everyone that came out tonight for the reinstallment or installment. I want to also congratulate Trustee Flamenco again on becoming a trustee and joining our amazing board. I'm really looking forward to working with you the next 4 years. And then lastly, I really appreciate the comments that we received or the discussion or information around the CSBA conference. I would like to get that information that you provided about the campaign with regards to attendance. I would like to know what they did. Did they do ads? Because if the county is out as a whole talking about it. I'm just making this up here. If I pick up my phone, like I received an alert at 6:15 in the morning about a tornado, but if I'm receiving alerts on my phone from the county as a parent in the district, and other parents are receiving the same thing, the more people rallying behind attendance, the better it will be, versus I know that we're doing social media, and I know we're sending out newsletters, and principals are doing what they can at the schools, but again, it's all hands on deck. Even if a child were to move from one district to another, how are we all supporting each other? And so hearing that really encourages me that it is possible, that we don't have to lean on ourselves. And $300,000 doesn't sound like a lot of money, especially if that $300,000 is not all coming from our district. And so I would implore Superintendent McCulick to kind of look into that. Thank you, because I think that would be great. And then I also want to say earlier, I jumped on the wellness committee because I know this is the year that we're going to be talking about the food. And I know we talked about, us being, financially solvent. But now that we're financially solvent, let's talk about the taste, the sight, the feel of what we're putting in front of our children. Free to the families is great, but we also want to make sure that when they come home to their families that they're not saying, well, I didn't eat the food or I don't like the food. I want our children to be happy with the options that they're being provided. So excited to have a conversation about that. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate your interest in the attendance campaign, and I will just say that we as schools are not marketing professionals. Schools are focused on educating kids and making sure that they are healthy and well, and that's what they should be. But this campaign was done by getting some real professionals involved and getting a lot of in-kind, support. There was all sorts of, they had billboards, radio, TV, an incredible reach, a lot of it donated pro bono, and I have all the information. But I actually wanted to use my time to request a future agenda item, and I wanted to request a special study session essentially on some long-term planning. We've had a presentation last May on our declining school enrollment. We had a budget presentation tonight showing some eyes for some concern on the horizon. And I would like to have a special study session on how we can best allocate our resources and structure programs in this environment.
Could I get that in the form of a motion, please?
I would like to move for a special study session on how we can best allocate our resources and structure programs going forward.
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Unanimously approved. All right, so I'm guessing that will be on the next agenda item. I just realized what I said.
If it's a special study session, we'd have to pick a date for it. So we can put it on the next agenda to pick the date.
Got it, thank you. All right, Trustee Ali.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone, once again for coming out. Excuse me. I want to congratulate Trustee Jordan and Trustee Flamenco, and also just to remind the public that school boards are not supposed to be partisan. We are elected at large, and regardless of our political party. And so thank you for everyone that participated in the democratic process. And we're going to govern this board based on what's in the best interest of our students. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for the welcoming, and thank you, all of you. And it's all new for me, but I'm trying to gather all the information that I can to work better with all of us. Thanks.
Yeah, and that's something, as you know, being a trustee 2 years ago, that's something I'll close this meeting with saying, you know, it's nerve-wracking being a new trustee. It's nerve-wracking being a first-time president too. So, you know, there's a lot of new first times here, but we are lucky that we have such a board that really supports each other. We make sure that we know the information we need to, and if we don't, we always are free to ask questions. And that's what I love about this board, and that's what I feel confident closing this out with saying, do you have Superintendent McCullough, any last comments?
Sure, I think you did an excellent job as a president, so I want to thank you for taking over. And again, welcome, Ms. Flamenco, to our board, and congratulations again to returning as a board trustee. And thank you all trustees for your hard work and dedication for our students. I appreciate you.
All right, thank you. With that, we move to our last item, which is item 19, adjournment. Can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, we are going to close this meeting with a moment of silence in memory of Raymond Mappa. 1 second while I read the statement. Raymond Mappa, father of Christopher Mappa, teacher at Susan B. Anthony Elementary School. A moment of silence, please. Meeting adjourned at 9:01.